Today I'm going to talk about MBDA. And a lot of people I don't think know enough about MBDA. They either think it's an operating group on its own, which it's not. MBDA is made up of Airbus, BAE Systems, and Leonardo, and they work together effectively on the multinational development of missiles. And they have additional partners and subcontractors, but realistically it is a congruence, I guess you'd say, a conglomeration of those three firms, and specifically for the design of missile systems. So, in regard to what MBDA actually is, it's a European group, and as I've said, it creates missile systems. It is really quite impressive, I think. I really appreciate it as a firm, and I think it develops a lot of really quite incredible technology. A friend of mine actually compared it. I'm always talking to people about this for some reason. A friend of mine the other day effectively compared it to Raytheon missiles and defense, in that they produce a lot of what one could term signature solutions and services. So I think that's rather interesting. To go over MBDA as a whole first. First off, for 2021, it had 5.1 billion euros in orders, 4.2 billion euros in revenue, and 17.8 billion euros backlog. So they're clearly an incredibly popular firm. They develop weapons systems for the US, the UK, Belgium, I believe, France, Italy, Spain. They develop a lot of stuff, and they have 13,000 employees, I think, in the countries I just mentioned. So it is literally just the US, the UK, France, Spain, Belgium, and Italy. They operate within these 6 countries effectively, and they have 90 plus customers within these 6 countries. So they are doing rather well. It is effectively the only integrated defense company to provide missiles and missile systems for each branch of the armed forces. So that's sea, land, and air, which they themselves effectively categorize into air dominance, battlefield engagement, and ground-based air defense, maritime superiority, and then they have subsystems and components. So, what we effectively know about them is they develop a lot of very signature solutions and services. So I think it's just worth going over those and actually perhaps bringing to the fore what MBDA actually does, because a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate where these missile systems actually come from. So, in regard to air superiority, they make the ASR-AAM, which is infamous for air-to-air capability. They make the Meteor, which is, I think, beyond sight new air superiority missile that's going to be implemented on Tempest and the F-35. They have deep strike missiles, ASMPA, Storm Shadow, which I very much like, which is it's effectively an Anglo-French collaboration missile that also includes in the family Scalp, which is the French naval missile which deploys submunitions. Anyway, cruise missiles, one has penetrative power, one has basically submunition power. They also produce Taurus KEPD 350E. They produce a lot of countermeasures systems and a lot of stuff for the Rafale, I think Eurofighter, so DDMNG, Eclair, Ellipse, Sapphire, Spectra. They do a lot of stuff. In regard to tactical strike, they actually produce some pretty important systems. So Brimstone, which I've talked about, which includes the new Brimstone 3 Spear, or Spear 3. Smart Glider, which is effectively a similar sort of concept, smaller diameter munitions utilized over a longer range, and Viper E. What else we see? They create stuff for battlefield engagement. So I was talking about Enforcer the other day. They're also integrating Brimstone on Themis and surface-launched Brimstone. But in regard to helicopter systems, they make, or are in the production process of, Acheron, Mistral, and Pars. So they create a lot of signature products in regard to battlefield engagement in general. In regard to ground-based air defense, for area protection, they make the Aster missile, and for force protection, the CAMM missile, which is, particularly for this land application, has been incredibly potent. I think that's Sky Saber. They're developing Skywarden, which is the laser drone, as it were. The Mika missile, Mistral systems, or the Mistral family of systems, really. In regard to maritime superiority, for area protection, they've got the Aster missile, 15 and 30. For force protection, the Albatross, the CAMM maritime application, which is Sea Scepter. So that's going to be incredibly useful in the coming years in implementation with Type 26 and Type 31 frigates. Sinbad, again, Mika. For tactical strike, they also make Brimstone, the maritime variant, Sea Venom, and then for deep strike, MDCN, NCM. And then for general maritime strike, they make the Exocet family. They make the Marte family. So they really are, and the Automat family as well, and Tessio. So they're really quite potent, and I think that's just quick whistle-stop tour of what they do, and I think that's a really good thing to go over because people know about these signature weapons, but they don't know where they come from. MBDA makes a lot of incredible signature weapons systems for missiles, for countermeasures, so I think it's worth recognizing that.